Habari Gani. Habari Gani. Welcome to the last day of Kwanzaa. But technically, if you're watching this, it is the day after the last day of Kwanzaa. But we are not under any time constrictions, are we? As the principles of Kwanzaa apply every day, all year long. And they should. We should not have to wait until the end of the year to reflect and pull back and check in. This should be something, a practice that we should implement into our daily lives. Being kind and generous and considerate of others should not be something that, we should pay attention to during just the holiday time. It's something that we should apply and use and implement into our lives all year long. So today's principle is Imani. Imani, which is faith. And faith these days, for many of us, is questionable, shaken, put by the wayside, misunderstood, not understood, not even thought about. The world around us has caused many of us to question our faith. Let's see. Faith, Imani, to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggles. And today's principle is represented by Zawadi. Zawadi are gifts. And I'm hoping that today and the previous days have been a gift, or you have accepted them as a gift, because that is my gift to you. To share my knowledge with you is my gift. And I hope that you have accepted it with an open heart. Handmade gifts are encouraged to promote self-determination, purpose, and creativity. Anything that you can do that comes from the place of your heart and your well-being without putting additional pressure on another human being, on the earth, our resources, is a gift. Accepting a gift implies a moral obligation to fulfill the promise of that gift. It obliges you to continue to pass this forward. So I do hope that you have accepted my words and these teachings and my shares and use them to, enhance your life in this coming year. Anyway, today I wanted to share with you 2 decks that I'm going to be working with. I'm not going to say exclusively this year, but they speak on tapping into, going to divination from a place of faith. Whether we're seeking out an elder or a wise one or something, we've always, as human beings, have always gone someplace to divine, get answers for things that may have been bothering us. Not even then, also to just get guidance. So I'm going to begin with this deck. And it's from the Dakar. It's based on the premise of the Dakar Spider. Let's see. It says, the morning starts with the bleating of goat kids and the crowing of roosters hailing the rising sun. Inside the square and beehive-shaped huts of the village, the fires are prodded into life, and the first meal of the day is prepared. Children run and play, and adults move about purposely, commencing their chores. At the sound of the headman's gong, the people move towards the chief's house and gather in the forecourt. A wizened old man, the Niku Nagam, or diviner, appears and leads the way to a large calabash pot lying beside the path to the headman's door. The cover is removed from the pot, and everyone, even the chief, strains forward in the hope of being able to see inside it. The Nagunagam peers inside. The bottom of the pot is broken, and it sits over the home of an earth spider. A number of cards made from the leaves, or rather from plum leaves, and carefully marked and patterned, have been scattered inside the pot. Even as the diviner removes the cover, the spider finishes its works of moving the cards about and returns again to its hole beneath the calabash. The diviner studies the arrangement of the plum leaves and gives the headman this interpretation. Thus is the fate of a criminal determined on this particular morning. And this deck of cards was inspired by this tribe, the Dakar, the Kaka people who migrated to Cameroon. And it's based on the wisdom of the spider. And it says the spider is a popular design and has been popular with craftsmen of all types, from cloth makers to wood carvers to silversmiths. And almost all village groups have adopted a stylized spider design as their royal emblem, and every headman owns at least one of the creatures for the purpose of daily ascertaining the will of the gods. This is where faith comes in. Faith, by the definition of, let's see what I have here, is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And I know many of us are trying to regain some sort of control or anonymity, feeling like not wanting to believe that something outside of ourselves is in control, in charge. And I know many times our faith is put to test when something we feel should have been within our control is not. Faith is a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. Well, I think this is where many people have begun their spiritual journey, where they're looking for proof of their faith. For me, my faith, I am given proof every day. There is no apprehension in what I believe in. My faith has served to keep me grounded, rooted. It has proven supportive and, what's the other word I'm looking for? Eye-opening, educating, loving, all of those things in my faith. And I know many of us are on this spiritual journey. This is the reason why you are on a spiritual journey, to find that proof that you need in your life. Well, the simple fact that you are listening to this today is proof that somehow, in spite of all the ugliness in the world, there is a tomorrow. There was a yesterday. And many of us are spending the first and second and third days of this new year reflecting on all the yesterdays. And that is proof that you made it through. You made it through. So, faith. I'll give you a few more cards here. And this is a deck that I would like to dig a little deeper into as the year progresses. Go back to reconnecting to my placement in the world, my roots that I come from. This is a deck that I'm going to pick back up and delve back into and realign myself to my purpose. So, The next deck I have for you is this one. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let's do that. There we are. That's the book. The Sibyls Oraculum by Tayannah McQuillar. And she's coming out with a Hoodoo Tarot in February. It should drop and hit the masses. Go over to Amazon and pre-order this deck. Very excited about this deck. But in this deck, this is the back of it. She talks about the black doves. And the black doves were said to have been the diviners of ancient Greeks and Rome. And the black doves were actually the African women of Libya. How this came about, I'll do a bit of reading here. The name Siwa is an indigenous Timazigan word meaning bird of prey, which protects the god Amun. Siwa's ancient Comitian name was Sektam, meaning palm land. Although the oasis had been inhabited since Paleolithic times, the first temple of Amun was not built until the reign of Pharaoh Amosis II of the 26th dynasty. Until then, most of the indigenous people of the region lived for millennia having minimal contact with outsiders. The foreigners they did encounter consisted of traders from Central Africa and royalty, diplomats, mystics, and pilgrims from all over the world seeking the wisdom of the Sibyls. It was a brave decision to visit the oasis because to reach it, travelers had to cross approximately 423 miles of sand in temperatures that could easily reach more than 110 degrees Fahrenheit. The desert regularly claimed the lives of travelers. In fact, the Persian army lost 50,000 soldiers when they attempted to reach the oracle in 524 BCE. Oracles were considered manifestations of the word of the god or goddess to the ancients, so to seek counsel with a Sibyl was well worth the risk. If a traveler did manage to survive, they would be welcomed by a virtual paradise that included thousands of palm and olive trees, not to mention fresh water in the forms of streams and springs. Myths of talking doves aside, it is most likely that the Greeks learned about Siwa and the talents of the Sibyls after they invaded Libya in 637 BCE. There was a widespread famine in Greece at the time, and they decided to usurp the wealth and prosperity of Cyrene. The Cyrenicians inhabited thriving cities on the coast of North Africa and had established settlements surrounding the oasis long before the Greeks arrived. After the domination of Libya was complete, however, the foundations of civilization in the region, as well as the oracle, were credited as primarily Greek cultural achievements, especially after the correspondence was made between Zeus and Amun. The oracle of Amun at the Siwa oasis also welcomed the infamous Alexander of Macedon, who visited the temple in 33 or 331 BCE. The details of Alexander's experience were recounted by his biographers, Arrian and Callisthenes. But there are no first-hand accounts by Alexander himself to verify their accuracy or the reason he chose to visit. What is known is that the Libyan oracle was so impressive to the Greeks that they considered it the third holiest place on earth after the sanctuaries of Zeus at Olympus and Dodona. By the time the Romans came to power in Libya, the Temple of Amun and its oracle still flourished but had lost some of its popularity. The reasons given for this were the ever-growing interest in astrology and the rise of new exotic Near Eastern cults. The ruins of the Temple of Amun still stand today. Faith is what brought people to this place to seek out the wisdom of the Sibyls. And we're not unfamiliar, many of us are not unfamiliar with the prophecies of the Sibyls. But many of us, unfortunately, are unfamiliar with the beginnings and the growth and what they did. So faith is something that will take us, hopefully it should take us to a place where we want to, rediscover and understand the truths of our existence, of our inner workings, of trying to understand. Faith is what should cause us to question the reasons why. Let's see here. I will show you some of the cards. There. This oracle deck is broken down into segments. You can see that I color-coded the cards for each segment. I will put a link to where you can purchase this deck. I won't keep you too long today, but I did intentionally pull 3 cards, even though I could, actually 4, I did pull, to hopefully deliver a message. I pulled doubt and justice, and death and unity. So the message going into 2020, I'd just like to share these words with you. Let's start with doubt. Doubt has gotten a bad rap for a long time, and it's often blamed for many failures. It is known as one of the main annihilators of dreams, but I think that is unfair. Doubt serves a very useful function in everyday life. If we never had doubts, we would blindly follow everything anyone ever said to us without question. Therefore, without doubt, we would never become seekers. Doubt is like the arrow that pops up on a computer screen once you've moved the mouse or cursor. There are several options to click, but the arrow has no mind of its own with which to consider and select. That is your job. If your spirit is full of fear, then like the arrow on a slow computer with a slow hard drive, you will either go back and forth, aimlessly missing all targets, or not be able to move at all. In any event, the failure to move forward has absolutely nothing to do with the arrow, but everything to do with the cross internal signals. There may be some very good reasons to wonder if you should choose one option over another. That's normal. What is not normal is continuing to remain stagnant while you complain, curse, whine, or cry about why nothing is moving. Focus on what you value most and what would be best for you 10 years from now. Make the choice that has the potential to put you closest to where you want to be. And don't go back once you've made the decision. Now, you might be in a place of doubt because of this or lack of this. Justice was my card for last year. Illumination was my word for last year, 2019. Everyone has, at one time or another, felt betrayed by circumstances. When we are disillusioned or disappointed, we often complain that life is not fair and retreat into a self-pitying state. It rarely occurs to us that the circumstances and or conditions we attract are in direct alignment with a thought process that preceded and facilitated the manifestation of events. We never doubt or question the necessity for the existence of natural laws for all things to remain in order. Yet somehow we forget that we, as the microcosm, are also subject to universal regulations for that exact same purpose. As a result, we miss opportunities for growth by blaming other people, fate, bad luck, a lost charm, anything but taking the time to examine how we have made or we may have lost balance. Okay, now what we should do, and I have here death. Death, conclusion, transformation, change, release. Yes? Okay. Death is usually understood as the end, but this is an unscientific position that we continue to perpetuate because we become emotionally attached to specific forms in specific ways. Most of us have heard that matter cannot be created or destroyed, but that is of little importance when we are grieving what such a short time ago was present that suddenly has become the past. So if people know all matter is immortal, then what is the source of our pain and longing? The source of our pain and longing is whatever we have accepted to be accurate in relation to time and space. This is why death hurts so much. Even if we are advanced enough to see the necessity of an apparent ending and do not view it as bad or unfortunate, we still suffer because of our perceptions of distance. When something or someone we adore is not in the form or space-time we're used to, we are wounded and we long to travel back in time to experience that relatedness again. Do not feel bad about this, but understand that the present is actually where you belong. Be grateful for those times you were with someone or doing something that brought you joy, love, and or understanding. Make peace with any mistakes you made, and proof that you have learned from those mistakes by agreeing not to entertain thought patterns that resulted in the choice to do what you did if a similar situation presents itself in the future. Doing this will make you focus on the best aspects of your ever-present experience by permitting the lessons learned to make you a better person. The beauty of your relationship with that person, place, or thing will always be relevant as continuously beneficent force. The cycle of positivity will be perpetual because long after you have moved on, your ability to extract good from apparent loss will inspire others to do the same, or at minimum, know it is possible. How many generations could be affected by such an example? If you are experiencing an ending or an apparent loss, don't focus on a new beginning if you're not up to it yet. Instead, focus on how much good you have because you had that experience. And your conclusive word, the conclusive message to bring us back to the very first day of Kwanzaa. Umoja. Remember that? Umoja. Unity. Everything that exists is but an expression of greater reality. There is nothing outside of the universe. Therefore, everything is by its very nature unified. Taking this basic precept further, we know by deduction that all is absolutely necessary to make this thing work. Everyone and everything is a soulmate. We need to understand the essence of what a soulmate is in the most basic sense, rather than compartmentalizing it into the realm of romance. The heart of unity is also not superficially kumbaya feeling towards others so much as it is an observation and an acceptance of responsibility to others. To put it simply, if we have accepted our interconnection and interdependence with everything else in existence, then we must examine our negative beliefs about other people and beings, the people and beings whom we obviously need, or they would not exist in the same space and time as us. It is very difficult to continue to despise, wish away, or harm what we know to be ultimately beneficial. It is when we don't see the value in others that inharmonious thoughts occur and suffering ensues for the despiser and the despised. Until the individual can see and feel the bigger picture, they will continue to have a laundry list of things, people, and groups they can't stand, not realizing that their extremely negative reaction is a complete metaphor for an aspect of their own nature that the despised merely represents. The essential idea of unity is integrated into the consciousness. Vain thoughts to annihilate perceived aliens and inferiors in thought, word, or deed are removed simply because we want or would not want to be similarly classified based on another's being limited perception of who, what, or why they think we are. On the other hand, when we feel a strong positive connection to someone or something, we are elated because somehow they remind us of characteristics we either like in ourselves or want for ourselves. No matter what we perceive to be external to ourselves, everything is filtered accordingly to only one point of view, the one you have chosen. It is based on this fact that wisdom teachers from many cultures ask people not to negatively judge others. If you make it a daily practice to search for commonalities, when you see something or someone who is disagreeable to your personality, you will be rewarded with a greater capacity to feel compassion toward all aspects of yourself. And for that, to me, is faith. That is a definition of faith, that I believe that at some point we will all be in alignment, we will all come together, we will all share something in common. After all, we are all human beings. So, I'm going to pull a card from the Black Angels Tarot, and I'm going to take you guys for a little ride. Hold on. Oops. There. For a little ride. Here we are. Let's fix that. Otherwise, I have some room. Okay, and let's see, the final message on this last day of Kwanzaa. What is it that we need to do? What is it that we need to know, understand, accept, embrace, so that our faith in each other, our faith in the world around us, our faith in ourselves is strengthened? Perhaps that is what we should ask. So let's see. Put that out. I'm sorry, I keep messing with the camera there. All right, let's see what we have here. And no. Get out of the way. Let's do this. Let's stir the pot. The healer. Okay. The healer. I have to pause. Okay. The healer says you acknowledge and accept all that is around you. Your big heart helps you to be the creature of solution to the questions concerning life and to situations that require your ingenuity and innovation. You have a way with things. Your slogan is, if there's a will, there's a way. You do not deal with impossibilities. People may see you as someone who pushes forward when everyone and everything has failed. While others are closing down, you are opening up space to allow all the wonderful possibilities to flow in. You have a large capacity for appreciating life. Your waking path includes your ability to validate your own work as crucial, meaningful, and necessary. I'm sorry, I was having a blubbery moment. Many times your work is done to receive attention, but the accolades for you, my friend, are when you use your energy to help someone without any gain, without complaint. Remember, you find satisfaction in the doing. Many of us are from heritages in which we have historically taken care of everyone at the expense of ourselves, but not always valued for sacrificing. Yet you may be quickly blamed when things go wrong. The helper longs to be appreciated. What is it you are giving, helper? Are you overreaching beyond your capacity to prove that you are good, worthy? There is no need to overcompensate or be used inappropriately to prove your worth. When failure becomes a path of wisdom and not an obstacle to your true nature, you will experience appreciation from within. Using others to reach some lofty goal, in effect, working to be put on a pedestal, is to set yourself up for a hard fall when the pedestal is yanked from under you. There could be no greater validation than the fact that you were given the gift of life. Since your birth, you have been inherently valid. Habari Gani. Habari Ganio. Faith. Thank you all so much for joining me on this journey. I look forward to your responses, your commentary. I hope you've learned something. If you have any questions, come back and ask, and I will see you my next video. Until then, stay blessed.